There are a few things these days that just about nobody looks forward to. Traveling to sunny Gaza, meeting any woman named Martha, piling onto a Boeing plane, testifying against Boeing, investing in Boeing. Man, a lot of Boeing. But also near the top of that list would be watching a Netflix original sci-fi movie about AI, starring J.Lo. Yet, somehow, some way, people actually thought that was something the world needed more of. So rather than let that minuscule, bizarre, niche segment of the market go unserved, a group of people, J.Lo chief amongst them, decided that making Atlas was a good idea. Set in the near future, Atlas follows Atlas Shepard as she faces off against a familiar foe from her past, an AI super android who's turned on humanity. And not in the 50 Shades kind of way. But rather than a galaxy-spanning, laser-blasting, mech-suit-smashing action film traveling at the speed of light, it's more of a prolonged robo-therapy session for a 54-year-old teenager, powered by AI. And we'll get into just what exactly made this movie such an intergalactic piece of crap in just a bit. A cringe-inducing focus on a current-day buzzword like AI? Check. A robot with pronouns? Check. Typical Netflix original movie quality effects? Check. Jennifer Lopez attempting to play any character other than a housekeeper in Manhattan? Check. All systems are go. We're clear to launch into a very quick recap of Atlas, and we're detecting spoilers on the horizon. The movie begins by filling us in on the backstory about how an AI named Harlan, created by Atlas Shepard's mother, turned against his creators and set out to destroy humanity with the help of his android peers. When his plans failed, he fled to space. 28 years later, J.Lo's character Atlas annoys the crap out of her commanders until they relent and let her join a mission to go bring back the AI who she grew up with alive, or operational, or whatever it would be for an AI. The mission immediately fails the second they arrive at the extragalactic planet where Harlan is hiding, and Atlas is forced to get into a mech suit to survive before crashing on the planet below. There are no other survivors to be found at the rendezvous point, so Atlas collects their dog tags, and the movie really wants you to feel sad about this, even though we met all those people 5 minutes ago. Atlas, having had bad experiences with it in the past, refuses to use the Elon Musk Neuralink to mind meld with the AI in her mech suit, hoping to avoid the resurfacing of her crippling trauma.
You can't trust any AI.
The next 40 minutes are filled with awful banter between her and the AI named Smith, some inconsequential run-ins with some android foot soldiers for the enemy, and Atlas reluctantly agreeing to link up her mind with Smith. Eventually, she stumbles her way to Harlan's hidden base. She stomps right in and gets spotted and captured immediately.
Shit, they know we're here.
You're a 30-foot tall walking robot strolling right through the front door. What did you think would happen? That they'd just ignore you like Ben Affleck does? She's pulled out and tossed into a jail cell with her mech where she comes face to face with Harlan. It's here that we get our first twist, as we learn that humanity is bad because of climate change and pollution, and AI needs to go Thanos on humanity, and then Harlan will rule over the survivors.
And
You wanted to die here.
And
the carpet warhead.
and
Moments later, we get another big twist when we learn that Atlas is responsible for Harlan killing her mother after she used the Neuralink with Harlan decades ago, leading to his rebellion. J.Lo manages to escape with her mech suit pretty easily, and then she shoots down their commandeered ship that Harlan was going to use to bomb Earth. Smith and Atlas square off with Harlan, and don't worry, the movie saved its worst CGI for last. The mech suit Smith saves Atlas, allowing her to land a killing blow on Harlan, but Smith ends up dying, or powering down or whatever. Atlas gets rescued and taken home and gets a new mech suit with the same old personality, so in the end she never really lost her new AI friend and the preceding scenes are made pretty much meaningless. And that is Atlas, or as I like to call it, At Last, as in at last this movie is over. We can skip over the fanfare and the suspense. Atlas is a hate watch, for a lot of reasons. But first and foremost, for one simple reason. Who wants to watch an AI robo-psychotherapy session disguised as a sci-fi action movie? In the right hands, and with honest marketing, sure, it could be an okay premise. But in these hands, it just made for a bad movie. And it makes sense that J.Lo was one of the executive producers, because who else would willingly cast her in this movie? Her character is set up as an ultra-capable person of genius-level intellect. But when shit hits the fan, she devolves into a manic, emotional wreck. And she pretty much stays that way for the rest of the movie. It's hard to take the character seriously as a kick-ass, ultra-capable woman when she's incapable of keeping her emotions in check, like someone in her position should and would. And casting J.Lo in this role made matters all the worse. You just feel like you're watching a teenager freaking out for 90 minutes. Casting pretty much anyone else would have made this movie better by default. The AI in her mech suit played a more believable human. In terms of the combat, we get thoughtless action scenes that you can tell were just going to happen regardless of what the rest of the script said. No real thought was put into how to bring them about organically, so they often come out of nowhere, and the action itself ends up being forgettable and tensionless. The dialogue throughout the movie fluctuates between being either super predictable or just off-the-wall stupid. The banter between J.Lo and the AI is fucking tedious. It tries to double as a therapy session that draws her backstory out of her mind, but it's clunkier than this chonky fucking mech suit design. Speaking of stupid, this movie is just full of things that don't make any sense, and people making decisions and conclusions that almost no human would make. Like when they show up to raid the suspected location of an AI android with a ton of guns that have no effect on him. Why, when you've been fighting these androids for 28 years, do you show up with a bunch of tools that don't work for the job? Or, for example, how the key to success against the AI in the end is just to do what he won't expect, which surely is unique to this situation at hand and not in any way applicable to human people as well. Pretty much all the attempts at humor missed the mark entirely, and the whole thing was brought to life with the visual quality typical of a Netflix original movie, which is subpar by today's standards. I'm just going to say it, I wouldn't be surprised if Ben and J.Lo's discussions about divorce started shortly after Ben saw an advanced screening of this movie. That all being said, Atlas is not the worst thing ever. It's like a 3. There's some world building that's not completely clunky. There are some pretty good actors here, but no one did anything special. I mean, the main character is J.Lo, so that's a mistake right off the bat. And the next biggest role goes to Smith, who isn't even alive and doesn't have much in the way of original thought. So that barely even registers as a character. Every other character just comes in and plays their minor parts here and there, but the majority of this thing is J.Lo alone talking through her trauma with ChatGPT. Man, I tried to say something nice about this movie and I ended up going right back to shitting on it. Well, I guess the rest of the points in this movie's favor come from the fact that I didn't have to go anywhere to watch it and... I don't know, it was in English. And from the look of things, I'm not alone in struggling to find nice things to say about the movie. Did you know Atlas existed before this video? Did you find the courage to sit through it if you did? What do you think is an appropriate role for J.Lo to tackle that she won't automatically make worse? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to HateWatchers if you haven't already for reviews of other current shows and movies. Thank you for mind melding with us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.